r/ask Reddit. What do most people get wrong about your country? Robin Hood probably wasn't from here. More likely Lincolnshire. Reddit. My Dumbus Reed County FFS. I didn't even realize Robin Hood was a real person until I visited Nottingham. He may have been a real person. It's still debated. No, I'm not from Slovakia. I'm from Slovenia. Two different countries. From Bratislava then. The Tatra Mountains, border of Poland and Slovakia, are slept on hard by most Western Europeans. Nobody's heard of them yet. They're absolutely stunning. Had an amazing time staying up in Zakopane and want to go back. I'm in the UK and there's direct flights from the UK to Poprad. Yet nobody knows the Tatras exist. They think Mexico is a desert shithole. But no, we also have forest, beaches, mountains. Still a shithole though. Breaking Bad told me it's all seen in a piss yellow filter. This better be true or Saru help me. Sepia is a nicer term than piss yellow. We live pretty normal lives in South Africa. It's not Mad Max on the roads. People are shocked when I say we have roads, cars, houses, shopping centers. We live pretty normal lives in South Africa. What about District 9 then? Thinking we're Switzerland. I said Sweden but don't wanna be rude and correct while you tell a story about how you liked the Alps. Also happens the other way around. Woozy face with uneven eyes and wavy mouth. Either way the flag is a big plus. We don't actually live upside down. No, really. Stranger Things or Australia? It must be Stranger Things because everyone knows Australia is not real. Edit. Thanks for my first award. We don't all wear kilts and chase haggis. I've been to Scotland. It was just gloom and golf course. And Loch Lomond. I'm from Turkey and we don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Of course not. You are Thanksgiving. This looks like something the old Vsauce would say. People always confuse Tower Bridge with London Bridge. If you want to see pictures of what Tower Bridge looks like, Google image search London Bridge. The 4 top images were 3 of a bridge suspended between 2 towers, and 1 boring ass long concrete bridge. How socialist Norway is. Yes, we have a strong government, but we have a blended economy with a lot of capitalism. It drives me crazy how American media describes us. A lot of our resources are privatized, and it is easy to start a company. People also have the choice to attend private or public school, or go to private hospitals. We do not have any less freedom than the US. Word, a well-regulated capitalist country with universal welfare is what we have, with options added on top. Same in Canada. From the way Fox News talks you'd think that we Canadians live in a socialist gulag with no personal wealth and no freedom of speech and no guns. In reality, Canada has relatively liberal gun laws compared to many other countries. If you really want one, you can have one but you don't have much selection to choose from. Our hate speech laws have a very high bar to be enforced. Just look at the number of brushes J. Philip Rushton has had with the law. 0. Per capita we are not as wealthy as the States, but our social safety net fills the gaps for the working class and most of us make enough to live a good life. Sure, I could probably afford a Mercedes AMG GTR if I were to work in the US, but I don't need an uber expensive car to feel happy. That the Netherlands only consists of Amsterdam. Everyone knows that Netherlands consist of Netherlands. r/unexpected Minecraft. Snails and frog legs are very uncommon. Baguette isn't though. We eat those almost every day. Snails are pretty common and delicious though. Yeah, also omelette du fromage isn't a thing. Omelettes of fromage are delicious though. Many Americans are level-headed, friendly people who value science and critical thought. They don't get a lot of airtime however. It's a lot more fun to hate on loud idiots. Same for Russia. People tend to think that Russians are just mindless goons who drink vodka whole day. As such people certainly exist. There are also a lot of very smart, educated people. As a Russian who lives in the US now, I must admit there are much more similarities between people in these countries than I could ever imagine. As a European I was absolutely flabbergasted when I found out how few members the Westboro Baptist Church actually has, based on the international media coverage they get. Used to get, I always thought they were a much bigger deal than basically nothing. It's Serbia, not Siberia. Ah, okay. Thanks for the info, my Siberian friend. I was going to put an angry face but Reddit does some weird formatting thing, lol. I see a lot of people who think that us Americans are all just fat and lazy, but in reality, most of us are just broke and depressed. Americans are all. We have so many people here that I'd be pressed to even say that most of us are anything, although theoretically it must be true. Someone in another thread last week said everybody's here and that sums it up pretty well. Stupid people, smart people, conservative people, progressive people, people with every view on every issue, immigrants from all over the world who still have the attributes they brought from their home country. They're here too. There's pretty much no type of person in the whole world you can't find in the US. Agree. 100%. America is gigantic. Most people don't really take that into account. We're approximately the size of Europe. You wouldn't say the French are just like the British, who are just like the Germans, who are just like the Swiss. In just the same way Californians aren't very much like Texans, who aren't very much like people from the Great Lakes region, who aren't at all like people from Louisiana. We're not Czechoslovakia. We're the Czech Republic. It's been decades since we split from Slovakia, guys. I talked to a guy recently that thought Yugoslavia was still a country. Does he have some harsh spoilers ahead? That everyone talks like the Queen. There are 2 people in Britain. Yes, that sounds delightful, Sue. Let's have tea near Buckingham Palace with Barbara. You thinking what, mate? Let's drink Budweiser outside One Stop with Mark. I believe these subspecies are called Posh and Roadman. In it. That we live in the desert and ride camels to schools. And that we get buried in pyramids. Egypt. But you can at least read hieroglyphics. Right? S. We don't actually wear lederhosen all the time. What? Are you even a real Mexican? A duck. Thanks for the laugh. No, there is no siesta every single day, and we do not dress like bullfighters nor like it much either. Also, paella is a dish from a very specific part of the country, nor the national dish eating all over the place. So what's the deal with siesta then? I think that what happens is that businesses close a couple of hours at noon. It makes the impression they are closed so people can't take a siesta, even in offices. My sister has like 2 hours to lunch. That's a lot. We don't buy all our stuff at IKEA and we only eat meatballs. That was a lie, we actually only eat meatballs and everything we own is from IKEA. Do you buy your meatballs at IKEA? They seem like a good deal. Yes. That every Indian speaks Hindi. Fact, there are 22 official languages and Hindi constitutes only 40%. We have a saying in Marathi, Southwest India, that goes like, a language changes every 40 kilometers. We don't have carnival all year long. There are no barely clothed people dancing samba on the streets all the time, and we definitely don't have monkeys on the streets. Thank you, Simpsons. Not everyone is good at soccer/football and not everyone enjoys watching it. The girls here might be more comfortable with their body, but that doesn't make every girl a sex-hungry Latina. Prices on imported goods, especially electronics, are insanely high though. I can confirm that there are monkeys on the streets depending what city you live in. Plus, we are part of Latin America but we don't speak Spanish. It's really not that great. I often hear people saying, oh, I want to move to New Zealand. It's so beautiful, etc. etc. There's a lot of shit we got wrong. Really important shit. Like what? I hold that feeling about New Zealand. It's on our list to live there for a few months. Housing, price, quality and getting a house. Medical care. Yes, it costs less but it's absolutely shit. Mental health care is basically non-existent. They like to say we have good mental health care but nope. Disability inclusion is disgusting here. Work environments are all sorts of duct and often people work hard jobs for peanuts. And it's also incredibly difficult to get and keep a job. There are many peaceful protests and strikes from many workers. Teachers, paramedics and nurses are only some. Prices are stupidly high. Average weekly groceries for 2 adults is about $150. And that's not eating properly. There's a lot of gang violence, drug and alcohol abuse, crimes, cops doing ducking nothing, I'm not Antifa or anything like that, I'm just being honest. Also, most of our beaches are polluted, and if you swim there you'll probably get super sick and possibly die. And the ones that aren't polluted are so brutal you can't swim there anyways. Huge rip currents and waves that will knock you flat and drag you out before you knew what was going on. There's also a lot of quiet racism and homophobia. All of us are ginger. Only 13% are. All the men wear kilts. Do you have any idea how windy it is here? They are only ever seen at weddings. And even then, most of the men wear suits. We all play the bagpipes. Very rare. Most people who can play an instrument just play the piano or guitar. We are all alcoholics. Lots of people drink on weekends for fun. Admittedly, there are some people who do have a drinking problem. We aren't the worst for it though. I'm not trying to downplay these issues or anything, BTW. We are all aggressive. Glasgow was voted the world's friendliest city. There is only one Scottish accent. The most famous is Glaswegian, which I have. There are several others. I don't think I sound anything like people from Edinburgh. For example, we are all Highlanders. Most of us live in cities. 70% live in the central belt. We eat haggis a lot. I've only heard of people eating it once per year. On Rabbie Burns Day, I'd say that roughly half of the population likes it, while the other half doesn't. Though some haven't even tried it. I think it tastes good. People love to exaggerate. There's other foods with far more disgusting ingredients. I am not living there anymore. But not all of people in my homeland are named Ivan. Not all of them wear a shank a whole year, even in their apartments. Not all of them drink vodka for breakfast. Not all that implies that a part does, right? Don't know what this Ivan is talking about. Must have lost his Ashanka after drinking vodka for breakfast. IT's not ducking winter 365 days a year. Canada. Just duck in 364 days a year. We don't all like tea and watch Doctor Who. We don't have poor dental hygiene as a collective either. The UK is still the third in the world for tea drunk per capita. So while we do tea all drink it, a large number of us do. Open bracket. Second is Ireland. And first is Turkey, for those interested. The poor dental hygiene thing though, I think that's just because of TV. In the UK we use a lot more normal looking people on TV. Whereas in the US you can only get on TV if you look beautiful and have perfect teeth. Walk down the street in either country and you'll see pretty much the same mixture of good and bad teeth. And the UK beats the US handily in international rankings of teeth healthiness. The bad teeth argument always riles me up. My teeth are crooked, by Hollywood standards, but none of them are bad. It's sad to see really young people traveling to get shitty full crown jobs abroad so that their teeth can look like Rylan Clark Neal. Google that name plus teeth for an unsettling image. Non-Brits Irish, when they have a mouthful of healthy looking teeth. Congratulations, kid, you've just ducked your mouth for life. Aged 18. Nobody in Ireland says top of the morning to you, and nobody eats haggis. Isn't haggis Scottish? Yeah it is, but people always mix them up and think Irish people eat it. I just think it's funny though and a genuine mistake. Hong Kong, we're not China light. Wish you guys were free. Free Hong Kong. They usually think that the whole country is inside Amazon forest and we share life with monkeys on daily basis. We have others forests here, like Atlantic Forest, okay? Get your monkeys straight. This is just really my state and not my country. But when I say I am from New York, they always ask me what part of the city I'm from. I mean, I'm used to it now. But there is a lot more to New York State than just the city and Niagara Falls. You mean Brooklyn? Yeah, I know about Brooklyn. We have a lot more than 3 accents in this country. Despite what you see in American films, there are a lot more British people than just posh, Cockney or Scottish. They're also Welsh, so 4 accents. South Africans. Americans think that we have wild animals roaming the streets, but that's ridiculous. The streets. Surprisingly, not everyone in Britain says CEW's Day. Some of us actually have understandable accents. That it's illegal to chew gum here. It's not illegal to chew gum. It's just illegal to sell it here. Singapore? Not everyone is good at skiing. We don't wear lederhosen and dirndl all the time, and schnitzel with noodles is a disgusting combination of food. The West thinks India is just filled with slums and mostly we do tech scams and are poor. The average daytime temperature in Canada. I often wonder that because Americans don't understand the Celsius system. They take out daily temp as Fahrenheit. OMG. It's July and I saw that it's only 28 in Vancouver today. People trying Vegemite for the first time think they should apply it to toast bread crackers in the same quantity as peanut butter or Nutella. Then wonder why they don't like it and we do. Only a light smear is needed. You should still be able to see the toast underneath. It doesn't snow in India. It does. We aren't cold. We just are socially distanced a little more. I hate how some people in other parts of the world classify Africa as one country. Like, hey, you're African. How is Africa? Bro, I don't know. There are 56 different countries in Africa. And I'm from Nigeria. So there is no way I live in the middle of freaking Africa. Bulgaria is a crime hellhole. Drugs, guns, horses and nukes you can buy on the many black markets. Why make more movies here? That it's all an amazing beautiful country, and we all live in picturesque mountain towns. Yes, Switzerland has beautiful places but they're mostly a pain to get to and extraordinarily expensive to live in for what you get. Most people just live in cities or surrounding neighborhoods. The cities aren't even very big, and some such as Geneva are becoming increasingly poor places to live. I love this country, and it does a lot of things right. But there's a lot of crap you have to put up with living here just to get some nice scenery. Canadians have more nice people than other countries. I find most people, at least in the city that I live in, are selfish and rude. I also worry about getting robbed and stabbed walking around at night. Everyone thinks we want to marry a bag of potatoes. That we speak Spanish. We speak sparkles. Portuguese. Sparkles. Singapore. We're indeed authoritarian, relative to Western liberal democracies, but not as authoritarian as foreigners seem to think. Yes, jaywalking is illegal, as it is in most countries, and we do it anyway with no repercussions, as it is in most countries. Yes, chewing gum is technically banned. No, you won't get caned for smuggling chewing gum. It'll just be confiscated if you try to lousily sneak large amounts on your person and from Malaysia. You can probably get away with a few sticks and chew on it at home. Yes, gay male sex is technically illegal and I have giant issues with that law. But in all honesty, the law isn't enforced anymore. And even though Singaporeans are majority against LGBT rights, because of our very low levels of violence, it is a bizarre situation where most people silently disapprove, but your chances of being publicly confronted or assaulted for being openly gay are actually lower than in many countries with greater general LGBT rights and acceptance. It isn't perfect, but it's a place where archaic laws are kept in place for reasons like placating religious groups, but everyone knows which laws actually count and which don't. Also, I guess lastly, we are deaf a wealthy city, and I'd say our poor may even be considered rich relative to developing nations. But crazy rich Asians' levels of ridiculous wealth is still the top 1%, maybe 2%. That Sydney is the capital of Australia. I'm gonna blame the Olympics and Finding Nemo for this one. That island is completely rural except for Dublin and everyone is ginger, which is actually kind of rare. Germans not having humor is not funny at all. Open bracket. I'm German. Oh, so you're from Romania? I love Budapest. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.